admin stuff. Let me go to Dana Loesch. Dana is a part of the Blaze, and she was with me this weekend on Saturday. We went down to the border, much to many people on our side's chagrin. Many people are saying that we were wrong for doing it, and we just helped things out. Dana, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Glenn. And thanks for taking me to the trip. I didn't realize that we were full on pinko commies with Shea shirts now, but hey, I guess it goes with the territory.
Yeah, it's really amazing, and it's sad because we are the ones who say we don't want the government to do these things. We will. Right. We're the ones who say we will care for the orphan. We will care for the widow. We will care for those who are suffering. And then we say, well, but not those people. And it's like, It doesn't work that way. You have to be all in or not.
Well, and the people who are being overly critical are being reactionary, and in their effort to be expedient with their reaction, they are missing the entire point. When we were down there and when you held the meeting with the pastors, they're at the table in one of the churches that has been on the front lines trying to keep the town from drowning in this crisis. All of those pastors were volunteering their time and have been volunteering their time for months. Now, I'm sure the American Thinker, which is a website on par with the gutless Politico magazine, don't call yourself a journalist if you can't even reach out to the target of your smear. That's MySpace, not journalism. But these individuals, what they didn't get out of this is that all these people have been there, going there, volunteering their time. They've been on the front lines, doing it privately. The president just a week ago said he wants to pass a $3.7 billion slush fund to do and spend our tax dollars on what these people and Mercury One are already doing. So essentially, and truth doesn't mean it's truth, essentially what they're arguing for and what people on par with them and on their side are arguing for is no private safety net, no private floating device. They just want the government to come in and spend our money to do it, because here's the thing, government's not sending them home. Everybody's hands are tied. You can be hardcore against amnesty as much as you want to, but the government will not allow these people to be deported. In the meantime, this is the choice. This is what's at our table. It's either public money, tax dollars, and we bankrupt border towns, or it's private charities who step in and save the day. And these people are on the side of government. That's not conservative.
And let me tell you this, Dana, even if we were putting them on a bus and sending them home, you saw the few that we saw at the Catholic Center where we were allowed to go in, where the government has just literally dumped these people at the Greyhound bus depot and said, here's a ticket, go wherever. It's shameful. And you were with me when Sister Norma, who I don't agree with politically, but I thought she was a really compassionate and great woman. And she said, some of these women are coming in here after a week in detention. They're still dehydrated. They've had to put them on IV bags and everything else and try to get their systems back in order before they get back on the bus. And I'm looking at this, even if you were putting them back and saying, no, you have to go home, it is our responsibility. We didn't just open up the concentration camps and say, okay, everybody, you're free. We have a responsibility to stabilize people. And the government's not doing that. Private charity should be doing that.
You made the point, Glenn, that they kind of are, but they're doing a horrible job at it, because they're arriving after they've been detained by ICE. They're arriving at these centers already super dehydrated, because that's what happens when government tries to be charitable. But for those people who are saying, well, going down there and giving somebody a sandwich, that's a welcome wagon, that's a welcoming party.
Crazy.
No. Let's take 2 steps back here and let's put on some perspective. The welcoming party is this administration creating this problem. The welcoming party is Nancy Pelosi going to the border and saying that she's for amnesty. She wishes she could take all these kids home. The welcoming party is Congressman John Lewis, who said just last week that he doesn't even believe in borders. If people want to have frustration, I'm mad too. I don't think anybody could be angrier about this than you or I or some other folks there at Mercury One or the Blaze, Glenn, but redirect the frustration, because sandwiches didn't cause this problem. Soccer balls didn't cause this problem. It's the false beacon of amnesty that caused this problem, and that's where people should direct their frustration.
Pat was really surprised at the soccer ball thing.
Jeez, it was like you gave them gold bullion. It really was. Those kids. I mean, we brought them some things that were in sacks, like some toys. I think were in the sacks, some stuff, stuffed animals, teddy bears, and food. and water, and we put them on their table. And nobody had told them yet that these things are for you. Open them up, and so they were kind of like, okay. And then we brought out the soccer balls, and pandemonium ensued.
Because they didn't know. They didn't know what was. They didn't know what was in the bag. They were just put on the table, so they didn't know what was in the bag, and they were quite honestly too busy. This is the one meal. Some of these kids will only have one meal a day.
The whole day.
The whole day. That was their one meal, and they were so polite. They would come up and they would point. We couldn't speak. I don't speak Spanish, so they would just point. They weren't just taking everything. They were being very polite. They weren't just. Quite honestly, like I am at an all-you-can-eat buffet, I take one of everything, and then I eat half of it. They weren't doing that.
No.
Very, very polite. One meal a day, and then when that soccer ball came out, it was like, honestly, it was like we were handing out gold bars.
It really was.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're just so
I had to tell you the
poor.
story that I saw of the soccer ball in the soccer ball pandemonium. There was a little boy that I saw there, and he was he was like 3, maybe 3. Tiniest little boy I've ever seen in my life. His head was as big as one of the soccer balls. He came up to I'm 5'6", and he came up to maybe mid-thigh to me, and he was walking around with 2 soccer balls. And all of these other kids are running past them. And my initial thought was, you greedy little thing, look at you with your 2 soccer balls. And he kept trying to raise one of them up. And I don't speak Spanish. I took 4 years of French only to discover it was Canadian French. So, there you go. So I'm watching this little boy trying to raise this soccer ball up. And then I realized what he was doing. I could understand like a couple of words. He was trying to give one of these soccer balls to one of these other boys running past him, but they couldn't see him because he was too little. So I reached down and tried to help him give one of these to another kid, and he was fine. He went back to his table. That stood out to me.
Yeah, these kids were amazing, and again, they all have to go home.
Right.
But they were really, truly amazing.
But take care of them now that they're here.
And here's the deal. McAllen, Texas is the poorest zip code in the country. And I will tell you, at what point do you expect the poorest zip code in the country to be able to take on so much water and be able to feed everybody else? They can't. It is up to us and churches. It is up to us and private charities to do this. Dana, thank you very much, and thanks for a great weekend.